obviously there is no spoken communication between either of us. And at any one time, we do not know what the other is going to play, and I don't know what I'm going to play myself, and the same with Jack. So how can we account for what's going on there? Well, with a Peirce model of design, it's very simple. First, as an object, we have the desire to improvise. First representament is the notes Jack is playing, and then as an interpretant, because the representament, remember, according to Peirce, is directed towards someone, but as I receive that representament, an interpretant arises, which are the sounds I make. And then this interpretant becomes a representament directed to Jack, who, in response, will have a further interpretation rising in his mind, and that will be the subsequent sounds he is actually making. And in terms of RSI, again, we have from the real the desire to work together, for instance. The symbolic is our own musical know-how, and the imagery is we are improvisers. And let's again remember that we have these unconscious and preconscious qualities where we have signifiers there, which under the action of a drive organize themselves, shift about, juggle about, without us being aware of it. And at some point, they do become conscious, they do become actualized. So therefore, improvisation is as thought out as composition. If you accept the notion that there is such a thing as unconscious thought, thinking of which we are not aware of, and that is what the work of Freud and Lacan proceeded to explore. So, as a conclusion, with a semiotic approach, we can have, as musicologists, a musical analysis which takes into account the semiotic aspects of its object and which can lead to an aesthetic capable of describing the dialectic of a musical fact rather than trying to make an axiomatic reduction of that musical fact to a priori theory. And if we consider the musical act as an object or the musical fact as an object, then its different realizations at any given moment are its representament and interpretants. In that sense, Alban Berg, for instance, Anton Weber, Pierre Boulez, are the interpretants of Schoenberg. In that sense, Schoenberg himself is the interpretant of Wagner. In that sense, Wagner is the interpretant of Beethoven. In that sense, Beethoven is the interpretant of Machaut, Philippe Machaut, 13th century. And if you consider Machaut as a representament, then the object is going to be again musical composition or the desire to compose. Therefore, we can do away with organicism. Are you familiar with the notion of organicism, which was so pervasive in the 19th century? Yes. Well, we can do away with organicism, and the benefit of doing away with organicism is that organicism is extremely dangerous when it's led to its logical conclusions. Who is the best placed person to actually water and make grow the seed? That led to a very big debate and some very nasty ideological consequences. But a semiotic which takes into account condensation, displacement, metonymy, metaphor under the action of a drive, then we do have a model which is not subject to ideological alienation. So from Machaut to Beethoven to Wagner to Debussy, etc., it's not an evolution, it is a metonymy, a constant process. That's the end of the lecture. My site and my email address if you have very complex questions later on. Thank you very much indeed.